All right, it's the final day of Utopia's 180-mile journey around Door County, and in just a few hours, the historic sailboat will be returning to the very city where it was built back in 1946.
Yeah, Utopia making its way back to Sturgeon Bay, where the Door County Maritime Museum will soon become its new home. Victoria Frazier joining us live this morning, talking about the partnership preserving that local maritime history. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, the Utopia's return is more than just the end to a 5-day journey. It also celebrates the ship's history. The sailboat was built back in 1946 at the Peterson shipyard by Fred Peterson, and that work is going to continue and legacy continue on with the Patriot Racing Project once it docks. The veterans, when veterans are a part of the nonprofit organization, they aren't just sailing, they're also working on different vessels at the Door County Maritime Museum and learning different trades and skill sets to use after leaving the armed forces. Andrea Strohmeyer with the Door County Maritime Museum says the partnership with the Patriot Racing Project is also helping others preserve pieces of history.
The Maritime Museum has a Peterson-built vessel called the Escape, and the Escape is being restored by Patriot Racing Project in the Door County Maritime Museum's offsite storage location, and so that is one of the projects that we're working on.
And coming up, you'll hear how this voyage highlights those Peterson shipbuilders. But for now, reporting live in Egg Harbor, Victoria Frazier, Action 2 News.